Hey YouTube, what's poppin'? It's your boy the Red Panda 315 back with another episode of Orioles franchise. And before we really start the episode, there's a few things that I need to talk about first. First off, I already recorded this video and it was awful. There's just no other way to put it. It was piss poor. So we're going to try to hope that this isn't piss poor, and hopefully we'll be able to do better then. Also, for some reason, I can't talk today like a coherent person could. That's just not me. So we're gonna try to mumble through this end of the season episode. This is the last one until the off season, and I'm really excited. I'm not sure how we're gonna do the off season video. It's either gonna be a super long video, or we might live stream it. So kind of let me know what you guys feel is the best way to do it. If I live stream it, it would have to be on Twitch, cause we're not big enough on YouTube. Sad face. Anywho, last guys you see, and here we go. Last time you guys saw me, we were just finishing up the trade deadline here. And as you see me flipping through these 2 months, there's a lot of L's. How many to be exact? 42. How many W's? 10. In the month of August, we went 4-21. In the month of September, we went 6-21, totaling a 10-42 record. We reached 100 losses before we reached 50 wins, and we barely grazed 50 wins. So there's some few things to note that we've went through since you last saw me. Emmanuel Clase actually made it up to the major leagues. You see, he has upgrades in most of his attributes, with home runs per 9 plus 5 taking the cake as the highest. His cutter in the game gets up to 102 miles per hour up in the zone, whereas his four-seam fastball also sits around 101. Hopefully we will be able to develop a curveball or maybe a changeup in the offseason for him, but that's in the works. The 22-year-old Dominican Republican reliever, asterisk there, pitched a 4.28 ERA with I think it was a 4.40 FIP, and I am correct. I'm always correct. You saw there he had a Ks per 9 of around 8 and a walks per 9 of around 4. Not ideal for the walks, but we can live with it. Now he had a good season even if it doesn't show right now. He got off to a really hot start and actually started his first game for some reason. He went 5 innings in that game, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, and I think like 6 or 7 strikeouts. That's not the point. The point is, he had done this multiple times, not starting but having relief appearances of 4 or more innings. A couple times he hit 5. He is potentially vying himself as an option to either be either A, super versatile in the bullpen next year, whereas, he can come in, get a lockdown inning with a 1-run lead, extra innings, 13th inning, it's tie, we need him to pitch. Or maybe John Means kind of tires himself out, but we still have, 1-run lead, and we need somebody to go 3 or 4 innings. Emmanuel Clase can be our guy. With 26 stamina, that's a little bit harder to achieve, but nonetheless, it's an option. He pitched really well, and I'm really excited for him. Trey Mancini has had one of the worst seasons since the sophomore campaign. First off, though, I want to say that what has happened to Trey Mancini in real life is absolutely awful. It's a big travesty. For those who don't know, he was diagnosed with colon cancer in April. Even if there was a season, he would not be in it this year. Of course, prayers are up to Trey Mancini. He's one of my favorite players on the Orioles, and he's just a great guy in general. I considered debating sitting him out the rest of the year due to this colon cancer, as some other YouTubers do with certain and various events of their players. I decided against it because, quite frankly, we need all the help we can get. Now, how much was Trey Mancini a help to our team this year? Not that much. You see, he has a lot of regression, especially in a -10 power versus left. You know who else has regression like that? Victor Martinez, who's like 41 years old. He did have some bonuses to power versus righties. He had some plate skills go up. His durability went up, and some of his fielding skills went up. He actually did win a Gold Glove, surprisingly. Um, Looking over at his stats, he was hitting really rough towards August, but picked it up and actually brought his OPS back over 700 and finished with a 715, similar to his 2018 sophomore slump. Uh, Again, at bats are the same, OPS is the same, average is the same. OBP is it's a little higher, but the slugging wasn't there. He did cut, if you look in the similar seasons, he had more walks and less strikeouts. He stole a few bases, but also got thrown out a bunch. He had, like I said, more walks, more RBIs, one less home run, one less triple, a few less doubles. Overall, I mean, he did better than that year, but it's still not the guy we're looking for. We're looking for a guy who can consistently hit over 850 and be a rock in our lineup. I'm sure he'll figure it out for next year. Because we have him one more year for arbitration, and then free agency is all his. So speaking of some September calls, we called up Holiday, Connor Joe, I think we called up Cole Stewart and Tommy Malone. Connor Joe, we were kind of running out of guys on the 40 man. For some reason, a lot of our 40 man spots were pitchers, so that kind of limited our flexibility for guys who we could call up. Connor Joe eventually got the call up and performed pretty well. Overall, like I said, I wanted a guy who can hit, and he's a pretty above average hitter for his position. He also has a first base flexibility in all of the outfield spots. So there's really nice flexibility there. He's 26 years old. He still has about 2 more years to grow, but already at a 68 overall. He had a +7 boost to contact versus lefties, 4 power to righties, +2 power to lefties. Same with contact versus righties. His plate skills went up, his fielding skills went up, and nothing changed to his running stats. Statistically hitting, he hit very well in his 66 at bats. He actually hit 3 home runs. He had 6 walks, 17 strikeouts. He stole a base, got thrown out. Obviously a super small sample size, but also hit over 1,000 OPS. What I'm more interested in is the high OBP and high slugging percentage. Obviously, that's what leads to the OPS. But overall, he did really well, and it was a success. He actually had some attribute boosts, and contract-wise, we have him for forever, pretty much. He performed well, and it was a really successful call-up. Speaking on some sour terms, Taylor Davis was a guy who I projected to come in towards June or July after raking in AAA, hitting around 850 OPS. He gets called up for a guy, maybe platoon with Chris Davis at first, maybe, dabble in at catcher, but that's not what happened. The exact opposite happened. His durability is at 71, but that did not show throughout the year. Most of the year he spent on the IL, finishing the season with a torn finger ligament. Then I think he had an ACL tear. I don't even know if he played like 50 games this year in the minors. It was really bad. Unfortunately, he had a bunch of attribute boosts that was nice to see. We really could have used him at the major league level. Unfortunately, at 30 years old, his contract, he is a free agent. Do not expect him back next year, but he might be back as a depth piece and not like a fringe major league player like he was this year. Staying at the first base position, we have Ryan Ripken. Yes, part of the Ripken clan, born in Maryland. He's actually a guy who sneakily and secretly made himself into a potential late bloomer here for our squad. He hit really well in AAA this year and had a +4 to righties. I mean, you're looking at his hitting stats there. Everything went up. Only things that went down were his running stats. And okay, it's kind of with age. Let's be honest. The 6'6" first baseman would like to see him learn a secondary position, but this could be a guy who stays in the minors for another 2 years, gets up to the majors around a 70 overall, and obviously that's not great. 70, wow, that's not phenomenal. But he's a guy who's kind of like a Matt Adams, maybe a guy who just he's a hitter. We can use a pinch hitter off our bench, especially if we have to continue to deal with Chris Davis. He's a guy who can slide in at first base and take that spot from him, or maybe dabble in with Ryan Mountcastle. Of course, given 2 years, his contact versus righty, If it took the +4 like it did this year, it'd be like at a 67. Contact versus lefty, would be close to 60. And then his power versus righty also near 60. And his power versus lefty would be towards like a 45, maybe a 40. Obviously, I'm overshooting, but he's gonna have more production because he's getting better. Anyway, that's a guy who I would start to look out for. Of course, D potential, but oh well. I mean, he grew this year, so potential isn't everything. Well, damn it, we'll just make this a video about first baseman Ryan Mountcastle. He struggled. Unfortunately, it was time. We had to call him up. We had to give him an opportunity in the major leagues, and he did not make the best of that time. Uh, Under a 600 OPS and didn't even hit above the Mendoza line. He did hit 3 home runs, which is nice to see, but a guy like Connor Joe definitely outperformed him. Nonetheless, though, he raked him in AAA. And you can see a bunch of these stats went up. His stats still went up when he was in the major leagues. Of course, he has some position flexibility because he can't field very well, but his fielding stats did get some increases. Again, another guy's running skills kind of varied. Everything else went up. Power versus, or just hitting against righties, both took a +6. His plate skills went up, and then against lefties went up as well. He's again developing into a solid hitter, which is what we need him to do, but we need those stats to get a little higher, hopefully around the 70s. Again, this is a similar guy to Connor Joe. We need guys who can hit the ball and provide some help for our pitcher. This year was built on guys who thought were going to perform well and didn't, and guys who we didn't think were going to perform all that well and really carried the team. This is a guy who we thought was going to play well, and he ended up didn't. He still, eventually, his overall still got a bump there. This is Hanser Alberto, our just infielder in general. We're hoping for some high contact numbers. Of course, we didn't get the highest. He had the highest contact. He had the highest average and OBP versus left-handers in last year in real life, 2019, but he only had a 80 contact versus lefties. Overall, he fielded well and actually got another Gold Glove. He and Mancini were the only ones to receive them, but there's that. Obviously, another guy who slumped, and I expect better from him. He's never going to be a high OPS guy. He's going to be like a Jonathan VR, just minus so much the speed, but I expect him to consistently be high in OBP and average. He didn't do that. It sucks, but oh well, we'll take our loss. Trust me, we had tons of them this year. 112 to be exact. Renato Nunez, our only all-star, eventually bumped his potential up a bit. That's nice. His power against lefties is almost at 80, so he's hitting the ball, and when he hits it, it goes far, and that's what we like. We just want him to hit the ball more, but he had a really great year. He's probably our best player on the team. He's only 25 years old. B potential, absolute steal when the Orioles picked him up. His fielding is still something to be desired for, but oh well. I'm not one of those old guys. Home runs win ball games, but so does fielding and pitching, but we don't do anything because we don't win ball games. So, let's just hit home runs. Why not? Yeah. After that little tangent, he had 34 home runs, improving on his season last year, 823 OPS. I think you can hear my dog bark, so yeah, there's that. He improved on all 4 of his stats there, all the way on the right, average OBP, slugging, and OPS. He stole 2 bases, but for some reason got thrown out 5 times. He struck out as many times as he did last year with a lot more at-bats, but he also walked more, so there's that. Yeah. RBIs are similar again, yada yada yada. Hey, he improved. That's what we want to see. We need improvement. We need it, and we need it bad. Anthony Santander, another guy who we did not expect to perform really well. I figured he's going to be, middle tier of the team, and he's probably our second best hitter on the team this year. He absolutely just raked with the home run department. He was second on the team with 29 home runs. You'll love to see it. 730 at 5 OPS. He was cold for most of the year. You see a low OBP, but a high slugging. Hopefully he'll improve upon this season to get another 25-year-old B potential. You'll see a lot. The outfield's kind of crowded right now because some people are good, some people suck. It's just the cluster. Yeah, so improving upon that, +7 contact versus lefties, +6 first power versus righties, another +3 power versus lefties. So his bat skills got major boost. His plate skills got a good boost. His fielding went up, which is something we like to see. He actually had a lot of errors this year, but oh well. Overall, it was a really solid year from him, and I'm excited to see what he can do next year. Austin Hayes, after his injury, sucked. There's just no other way to put it. His potential went down, his overall went up, and my feelings went down because I'm sad. I was really looking forward to him performing well. He was hitting like a north of 900 OPS and finished the season with 615 OPS. Yikes. He did hit 8 home runs. He struck out way too much and did not walk as much. He stole 6 bases, got thrown out 4. That's a 60% rate. That's not the best. Um, it was his first full season. He got hurt. That's what we'll chalk it up to, and you guys will deal with it. His fielding got better, so that's good. His plate skills didn't do anything really. Hey, he can bunt better now. But who bunts? Not me. Maybe in Diamond Dynasty, but not here. He'll be back next year. He might not have a starter spot, but he'll definitely be on the major league roster. Stevie Wilkerson, remember the guy I told you about? You don't need to worry about him. I don't even like him. He's not important to the ball club. Yeah, well, I like him now, and he's important to the ball club. He came in and just was a spark plug off the bench, 784 OPS, but again, he got cold towards the end of the season, which is the worst time to do it when you're looking stats wise. Generally, he was above 800 OPS. He was around like the 820 range, 840 range, kind of around there. He had 11 home runs. That's good. More than last year and less at bats. He had more walks last year, less strikeouts. He did everything this year better except getting thrown out, pretty much. And doubles, but oh well. He did really well, and he might be back next year. I'm not sure. I think he's in, he's still in arbitration, so we'll be able to deal with him later. Switch hitter, super utility. Who knows? But a solid season from him. And unexpected. Uh, so I am talking forever, it seems like, and that's because it's true. John Means, another guy who we thought was going to be our ace, was going to be a monster for our team this year, and didn't have the best of years. He had a lot of attributes to his makeup and his control and clutch, which is cool. Of course, the Ks per 9 went up, +5, his biggest jump. Solid guy. He'll be in our rotation for probably 3 more years at least. But who knows? Well, I don't know. There's some guys coming up. He pitched a 4.01 ERA with 173 innings. That's what you like to see. You like to see the high innings, but a FIP of 4.52. Not the greatest. Of course, his rookie season was really good. But, the walks almost went up 1, close to 3 now. So it's not the best. Of course, his record's never going to recover from this. Well, 19 and 25, not too bad. Of course, he made more starts this year than he did last year. And, overall, I mean, like I said, we had to stretch him a lot. That's a thing with a lot of pitchers. There's those, you're in that 5th inning. Or, yeah, you're in that 5th inning, you're in that 6th inning. He's gave up maybe 1 run, but he's got 2 runners on. And instead of being smart and going to the bullpen, you can't because you need somebody to pitch. So you send him out there and he gives up 3 more runs but gets through the inning. That's kind of what it is. I mean, to be fair, you're going to lose that game 12-0 anyway, so it sucks, but it's just how it is. Wojo actually did pretty good for us. He was a solid starter. Of course, the attribute boosts aren't there per se. He did get a nice boost to home runs per 9, his worst stat. 4.49 ERA, but as you all have seen throughout the videos, his FIP has been lower than that. He's been an unlucky pitcher. Unfortunately, though, I did kind of take a turn for the worse towards the end of the season. You'll hear that with a lot of guys. Overall, he might be back next year. He'll definitely be vying for a spot. He's in arbitration, so we're not really going to We're not sweating beads over here, worrying about if we're going to get him back. He's 31 years old. He might be back. Uh, but if not, some younger guy will take his spot. Cole Stewart was one of the September call-ups. Um, so there, a dip in attribute boost, on dip in his hits per nine, but everything else from there, besides the home runs per nine, actually went up. It's nice to see a guy who has a high home runs per nine, because that means he doesn't give up many home runs, but he still managed to do it this year. He was pitching decently. Well, no, he was pitching abysmal in AAA. I mean, he was like 5 ERA or whatever, 5.5. He ended up to the majors 7.95. But he got better. The 24-year-old, he'll be in spring training fighting for a spot, but who knows if he'll get it? Probably not. Um, it was just a meh year from him. We were hoping he was going to break out this year, and he didn't. So, I mean, he's a potential. Worst case, we'll just trade him because the game loves a potential people. Yeah. Miguel Castro, honestly, our best, the biggest jump from anybody this year. Plus 11 home runs per nine. Plus 4 to Ks and walks per nine. Plus 5 for hits per nine. His clutch and control went up. The same with his fielding. His durability went up. You love to see it. He rocked a 5.04 ERA, but a 3.81 FIP, his best of his career, and his third worst ERA. So I'm not worried about that. He pitched really well for us. I was really glad of what he did, and those boosts really help him next year and really help us. Obviously, he's also upped his potential at 25 years old, entering his 26-year-old season. He's not even in his prime yet, but we're excited. He is in arbitration for another year, and then he'll hit free agency. So, there's that. Something to worry about. Going over to Paul Fry. Paul Fry, he got boost there and pitched meh. We're just kind of trying to speed things up. I kind of just want to highlight all of the boosts. We won't really be able to see them any longer. Tanner Scott, another guy who MLB loves to grow, and he grew, to say the least. Plus 8 hits per nine, maxed out Ks per nine, even though I think it was already maxed. Home runs per nine went up. Would have liked to see the walks per nine go up a little higher. That's okay. Control went up. Fielding stats went up. You love to see it. He pitched all right. He walked way too many people, let's be honest. He almost walked better in inning. But he also struck out like 12 per nine. So, yeah, not bad, but solid season. He will be a guy. He will be a guy we are looking for a big jump next year, and hopefully he'll be able to do it, especially when Emmanuel Clase is right on his ass. Because they're both flamethrowers. Richard Blyer, his run might be done. He had a hell of these seasons, and then got hurt last year, and then the game screwed him with ratings. He's one of those guys where the game just screwed him, kind of like a Chance Cisco, kind of. His FIPs have always been pretty decent. Even last year he had a good FIP. This year he didn't, though. Again, the injury, they always screw him, because San Diego Studios only look at average and ERA, and that's it. Yeah, they don't look at the real stats. Stats that matter. Anywho, he might be back next year, but he might not be in the major leagues. He might be one of those fringe guys. He's still in arbitration, so we'll see what happens with him. Zach Littell got injured, still got his boost, and didn't finish the year well. Gary Fenter, a guy who I thought was going to be in the majors this year, but he's going to be there next year probably. He's getting close. He got a bunch of boosts. You love to see it. I just thought I'd highlight him. Brian Abreu, another guy that we picked up at the trade deadline. Performed well. Didn't get a shot in the majors this year, but damn straight will he be there next year. Not Matt Barnes. No, ew. I'd love to have him. Sean Armstrong, he didn't do much this year. 29 years old, going into his age 30 season. Would have liked to get some boost in there, because I don't think he's going to grow anymore due to his age. He pitched meh. Just, yeah, not great. Everybody else, nobody really significant except Hunter Harvey. Again, a lot of the minor league guys we're going to kind of go over in the offseason and talk about them. Hunter Harvey did get his boost overall. Obviously, he pitched terrible this year in the major leagues, but he still rebounded and still had a productive season. Still don't understand why his overall is a 57 because I've seen pitchers worse than that, with worse stats than him, have a higher overall, such as Jay Flaw. See, it's not close, is it? About Brandon Klein. Brandon Klein was a guy I thought was going to be in the majors, and then he got screwed because for some reason he wasn't on the 40 man. We really need to go through and fix our 40 man, except that's a pain in the ass sometimes because teams try to take our people. Teams really wanted Michael Givens at the trade deadline, but we did not give him up. We're hoping he can rebound because his ERA, damn, he got inflated at the end of the year. His FIP got inflated. I did not see that happen. Okay, well, yeah, that's not what he was pitching to. He's pitching towards more long line this season with a 4 ERA, but oh well. Finally, finishing up with catchers, Pedro Severino, our potential guy. He's definitely going to start next year, I would assume. He might get dealt, though, because a lot of teams have interest in him. You see a +9, you see +4s. Obviously, you see that -4 there, and then minus to speed, but that's it. Everything else was pluses. 761 OPS as a catcher is good for me, and he's still in arbitration. A guy, hey, might be able to do something for us. Adley Rutschman, we'll just talk about him. We'll graze over him. He got pluses and everything, so hey, there you go. Chance Sisco, another guy who got screwed by ratings, finished with an 810 OPS. He did not have many at-bats. But when he did, he made something happen, generally. He had as many RBIs as he did walks, so, there you go. There's a fun fact for you. He's the biggest guy. Oh, my controller has died. I think you guys can still hear me though. He was the biggest guy I've seen get screwed over by ratings. He had 729 OPS last year and still has had worse ratings than Chris Davis. He hit 810 this year. Overall he's hit fine in his all years except this one, but in all honesty, a 210 average is not great. When you have a 333 OBP and you still slugged almost 400, that's not bad. Not really sure why he got all of that hate. Anywho, he still produced a solid season growth-wise, and I'm excited. Brian Holiday, don't worry about him. If he's back next year, it's because he's depth. Anybody else? Austin Wins. You like to see those, that +7 there. It always catches the eye. He's 28 years old. He's had some chances with the Orioles the past couple years. Didn't get one this year. Our catchers stayed relatively healthy. Brian Holiday coming in really screwed him, though, because he would have been the next man up. Hunter Fiduci, a guy we picked up. Yeah, he did that. Anyway, guys, this was the damn... I just ranted for however long this video is. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, look, the off-season video is going to be like this, but it's going to be more dramatic and exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is going to be another late upload. If you guys enjoyed this, go ahead and check out the other videos in the series if you haven't already. Although, why would you watch out of order? Thank you guys so much for all the support. Go ahead, check me out on Twitch, the Red Panda 315, yada yada yada. And also check out some of my other videos. Of course, right now the stats are about 80% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So for some reason, if you're not subscribed, you should do that for me because it makes me feel better and it also helps put the channel out there. I'll go ahead and stop yapping so much because I gotta go eat dinner. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you all soon.